agents' primary
Right now, this is the Senate
exactly what they are assigned to do.
with Kash Patel as he testifies in an oversight hearing.
Your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you
I
have
am
left.
not asking for a soliloquy. It's just a yes or no. Are those people who are returned to their jobs still on those
As he
jobs?
had to deal with Senator Dick Durbin,
What was that?
DIL,
They
has
never
criticized
left
Patel
their
over
primary
recent
job.
FBI
It
staff
was a surge of
changing.
resources in law
Senate
enforcement
GOP
working
has
with the
supported
interagency
FBI's
to
handling of
combat
Charlie
violent
Kirk's
crime
assassination.
and reduce
They were
violent
never,
crime in
they were never
historic
reassigned to different
proportions.
positions. That's your testimony. Okay, Director Patel, the FBI
He seemed
is
not to
also
know
the lead
too
federal agency
many
for
answers to some of the
investigating
questions that were
cyber
being
attacks
asked
and
of
cyber
him,
intelligence, both by foreign
as
nation
well
states
as
and by non-state hacker
denied the
groups.
knowledge of
Since
what was going on
President
with a
Trump's
lot of these
inauguration, the
attacks
executive
that they
assistant
said are all
director
leftist attacks, all
in
leftist
charge
ideals.
of the criminal and cyber
There's a wild
branch
stuff
and
going
the head
on.
of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI.
Oh.
409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year.
It's that
So
branch,
any
Mr.
suggestion that
Patel.
the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before.
Cyber crime.
The leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators.
You know
from Iran,
why
China,
they're
and Russia.
important? I want to know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there.
Supremely
Are no longer
qualified
there.
individials
Hmm.
have those
Who are
positions.
they?
Supremely qualified
Who
individuals.
are they? What are the names?
You're not
You
getting.
don't know. Special agents. who
No, he's not
investigate
giving up the
cyber-
information of the names
Cybercrime
of the
were
people
also
that replaced
reassigned for immigration
some of the
enforcement,
FBI
and
agents
those
that were released
expert
or relieved for their
investigators
duties.
returned to their
Find that interesting.
duties. Yes or no?
All agents remained on their primary duties while surging to allocate resources for interagency operations for the Homeland Security task forces across this country.
So are you?
Am I what?
See, I'm not getting the yes or no answers. I get all this explanation. So there you go.
No, you get the work that
Are
the men
you
and women of the
planning
FBI are doing.
Oh, Kash Patel over here is talking about you gonna get this work.
To the cyber division
This
in
man
the
is crazy
future.
right now. I could tell when they were cross-examining him, this man had to deal with anger issues. He was clenching his fist like he wanted to crush something. It's like, oh.
Director Patel, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism against the United States from both foreign and domestic sources. It's also our lead agency in fighting the hackers who target our businesses and critical infrastructure. But instead
Just wanted to
of,
give a little bit of
its
close-up of
specialized role fighting these kinds of terrorists,
what's going on with this whole situation.
you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. I'm gonna
Drinking
move on
some
to
water
my-
from the government. Interesting
You
bottle
know,
logos.
You've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But one question I had is, that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. But the physical fitness standards of those agents
So are you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to
Oh.
pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me.
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
asked-
better be able to do a pull-up.
Oh.
the reason I ask is,
There were no
whether,
unfit
are
workers
whether or
working.
not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one
Anyway,
pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there
am
are always
greatly
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
I mean,
I'm
do you
very
want an
concerned
FBI
with
agent with a
you.
medical
I'm very
exemption running
concerned
around here
that
trying to
you
bust
are
crime?
going to take a cut in your agency of almost $500 million. So the FBI is losing dedicated employees, decades of expertise, and specialization, leading to loss to early retirements, firings,
Again,
and
I'm going to show
reassignments
this.
to immigration enforcement or conducting local police work. Thousands have already left. For as long as you remain as the head of the FBI, I fear the number of departures and summary firings will continue to grow. Mr. Patel, before the vote on your nomination of this committee, I noted that your most significant qualification, this is not just something that I noted, but others, your most significant qualification was your 100% loyalty to President Trump. I fear that that continues to be the motivating factor in your position as FBI director. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor, Mr. Chairman.
He was stressed out. He was about to
Once
drink some
again,
water
we
there.
are
That's
watching
crazy.
Here live at Washington, D.C. That's FBI Director Kash Patel as he is testifying right now, being questioned by both Senate Democrats and Republicans. This all started around 9 a.m. Eastern time. As you can see, it is still ongoing. So what we're going to do is take our final break of the hour here on Live Now.
They were talking about testing people's loyalties. You know, some of these agents' loyalties towards the Trump administration,
Maybe grab some takeout.
towards a different view of America, and are they, implicating that right now? I did see a movie with something like that where people were being tested for their loyalty. How loyal are you as an American? I did not get to see that Civil War movie. You know, when they're talking about a near epic future situation, because again, I mean, they already showed you what they wanted to do with this country, and now they're slowly doing it. Using the, internet, the news, the movies, all the symbolism, all the psyops, to move this agenda forward. And obviously they're doing their work. Are you doing your work to prevent yourself from being wrapped up in some of these wacky psyops right now that's going on, where people are questioning what they're watching, what they're seeing, if it's a real deal, because they want you to feel like you're going crazy. They want you to question your morality. And slowly people are being desensitized by all the stuff that's going on. Are you even going to have any humanity left when it's all said and done? Is that the way they're going to get it done? Through people's mental or non-mental awareness. I'm waiting for this to pick back up so we can see what else they're going to talk about in this cross-examination. You can feel free to chat. I don't know if it's open. Give me a second. Apologize. Trying to make sure I'm keeping the chat available, so if anybody feels like talking, have I done that? I don't know. But hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully you're having a great time. Hopefully you're not letting the stress of the news and these social outlets get to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your coffee, your cannabis, or whatever you embark on as you traverse through these streets, for these stressful mornings. We're going to get back to this whole FBI Director Kash Patel as he testifies in a hearing.
You have a panel on the left-hand side of your screen with any additional information you may need if you are just tuning in.
Let's see if I need to pick up the volume.
Thank you for watching Live Now from Fox.
And families, but for America and for those of us who knew him, you being chief among those. So just my sincere condolences and thank you for the steps that you and the FBI have taken to make sure that we have someone within custody, and we're going to be able to move forward with that. But if you look over the last, since last summer alone, we had 2 assassination attempts on the president. We've had an arson attack on the Governor Shapiro there in Pennsylvania. You have the murder of the state representatives, Melissa Hortman and her husband in Minnesota, along with the shooting of State Senator John Hoffman and his wife. Several anti-Semitic attacks, several attacks on Christians that were noted by Senator Hawley. We had the killing of 2 Israeli embassy staffers here in D.C., the June firebombing in Colorado. We could go on, and we saw a culmination, as Senator Schmidt said, with the brutal assassination of Charlie Kirk last week. I appreciate you committing to both Senator Hawley and Senator Kennedy, talking about making sure that all that are involved are held accountable. I think that is critically important, and I think that America needs that transparency. I want to read you some words of Vice President J.D. Vance. He said, "If we want to stop political violence like what happened to Charlie Kirk, we have to be honest about the people who are celebrating it and the people who are financing it. My question to you is, in light
Pretty
of
interesting
Charlie's
stuff.
order and all of the things that we have just referenced and have been talking about today, what steps is the FBI taking to more aggressively crack down on those who promote, encourage, finance, fund these types of engagements and this type of political violence?
Thank you, Senator, for your kind words. So
Oh,
in terms
it's here.
of how we crack down on the root cause of this violence, for now putting aside the ideological motivations and how they got there, the monetary issue is a real issue, and as I've said before, we follow the money. So we work with our partners at the Treasury
They want to know who's
Department
funding
to
this.
trace where the money came from, how these individuals paid for the training they received or the platforms they were using, and also how these individuals collectively got together in whatever groups they were on whatever social media sites they were on, to utilize clickbait to make money for their ideology. And so to trace all of those, we are using, not just in Charlie's investigation, but others, lawful process and serving 2703D orders on any entity that is related in any way financially to any of these criminal acts of violence. And we are going to hold them accountable with our partners at the Department of Justice.
Excellent. I would love to stay abreast of
I
that.
gotta wonder how these investigations are playing
We must
out.
get to the bottom of it. We must follow the money. Someone is funding this discourse. Do you believe, obviously there are people here, unfortunately American citizens, that may be engaged in that, but do you also believe that some of this may be coming from overseas?
Yes.
Okay, let's get to the bottom of it and let's make it stop.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask you about the Dobbs decision. So we know that it was leaked in May of 22, and then we had the Marshal Service say we found nothing in January of 23. I find that absolutely mind-boggling, that we can't figure out who leaked that opinion. We know it was done in attempts to undermine the process, and then the intimidation of the justices occurred after that. Tell me what you can do as FBI director to help us get to the bottom of what happened and actually hold someone accountable for their actions.
So I can't speak to what the marshals did and how they conducted their investigation. I can tell you, generally speaking, the FBI has taken over the investigation on the leak because it was such a detrimental leak.
So you commit to getting to the bottom of it.
We are utilizing the full resource of the FBI as we usually do on leak investigations, and we will make sure our results are public at the appropriate time.
We need answers. I want to talk about child sexual exploitation. Thank you for making.
They're going back on some of the talking points from earlier.
Top priority. We know that is the greatest gift that we have. That is our greatest treasure here in the United States, as the next generation. And finally, we have an FBI director that is putting that at the top of his list. Can you tell me the steps and the different initiatives? I've heard you talk about a couple of them. You've mentioned 764 amongst other things. Tell me what you're doing, and specifically I want to know about when it comes to sextortion. So as a parent who is raising children right now, teenagers, and you're looking at what's happening, whether people are snapping photos and then what's happening online. I have had a number of parents sit in front of me telling me terrible, heartbreaking stories about their children ultimately taking their own life because of being blackmailed. I want to know, what steps are you taking to get to the bottom of that and to absolutely end this? If this were happening in a storefront, Mr. Director, that store would be shut down, no matter where it was, coast to coast. And yet we continue to allow these things to happen, and we've got to have a more targeted approach when we're looking at this. And so what are you doing to protect children, and specifically sextortion?
So in our VCAC initiative, our Violent Crimes Against Children is our umbrella enterprise operations hub for things like Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Not Forgotten and Operation Justice. And in things like that, those are producing the results that I told you about. 1,500 child predators arrested, 300 human traffickers arrested, 4,700 children identified and saved, a 35% increase from year to date last year alone. But specifically on your sextortion question, Senator, that is a problem that we are seeing.
I've never heard of
generative
this.
AI and private sector and social media companies. And what we're doing is engaging with NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploiting Children, because this one stat alone should probably cause great pause. They have seen a 1,325% increase in generative AI leading to sextortion and child sexual abuse. That cannot be countermanded by the FBI alone. We have embedded people at NCMEC and have a great partnership with them. But what we need to do is what we did in the month of May. and we're doing it over and over again. We arrested 400 individuals in 1 month in 1 month search.
Wow,
These
thank you.
individuals have prioritized. The agents and intel analysts have never left that mission. They're doing multiple missions at the same time. That's what the FBI is called upon to do day in and day out, and we won't stop doing two things at once. But we
You know, are they
need help from social media
catfishing
companies. We need
people
help from the
out
private
in the
sector,
open to
internet
get them
service
caught up?
providers
They're
that
trapping
allow
these
this
weirdos
generative
online with AI
AI to be
footage of
hosted on
children
their
or something in
platforms.
these
We have got
chats
to
over here. I
get
don't know. It's
a
wild.
resolution on that with our partners in Congress and the private sector.
Well, we are definitely committed to working on that. I know the people up here. So you let us know what tools you need, and I know we've got several ideas that we look forward to pushing forward. In my remaining 2 minutes, I want to talk to you about your historic results when it comes to crime. In particular, we've seen here in DC just a total transformation. You mentioned earlier 60% down in gun crime, 70% down in carjackings. You said 50% down in homicides, to name a few.
Oh. I thought they wasn't going to cut that. They said they wasn't going to cut it. I apologize. I'm giving you shitty footage. But I find it interesting. They were going over this man's behaviors, his loyalties to the Trump administration, his lack of knowing information about these attacks from the Democratic Party. They saying, online threats to children with AI technology being used to possibly lure out sex offenders in these chats over here, and then they're going in and trying to round up as many of them as they can. And they're saying that they're doing it, cycling now. They're not going to just do it once a year. They're going to be doing this constantly, luring out people. There's been some wild stuff going on with this whole testimony from this man, but he did not seem to know a lot of things. What's happening over here? Oh, they talking about Luigi Mangione. They're throwing out those 2 terrorist charges on Luigi's case, as he seems to have tons of wild supporters for the murder of the CEO of the healthcare administration, which is wild. He had a GoFundMe page. People were paying this man. Apparently, they're dealing with his court trial right now.
He was handcuffed with a chain around his waist and shackled at his ankles. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg had charged him with first-degree and second-degree murder as acts of terrorism and other crimes for the deadly shooting last December of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Judge Gregory Caro ruled that the mere fact that the murder appeared to be motivated by ideology did not qualify it for the more serious first- and second-degree murder by terrorism charges. He is now facing second-degree murder, weapons, and about half a dozen other charges. Outside the courthouse, some of his fans and supporters showed up to support the 27-year-old Ivy League graduate who has a cult following. The Manhattan DA's office issued a statement saying, we respect the court's decision and will proceed on the remaining counts. Now we're joined
Wow, they're disrespecting Nintendo over here, letting them use Luigi hats over here.
Arthur Aidala. And Arthur, was this a good day for him?
Well, it's relative, but I just read the court's 12-page opinion. It's very, very well done. As you know, Lisa, Judge Caro is he's a real veteran of this courthouse. He's been here a long time. He followed his own father's footsteps in this courthouse, and it took a little bit of guts for him to do what he did, but he based it on Court of Appeals decisions which said terrorism, and that's what the prosecutor had to prove here in the grand jury, and what Judge Caro said is terrorism should be defined as narrowly as possible and using your common sense at what terrorism is. And the judge actually cited September 11th. That's the definition of terrorism. That's what we think of as terrorism. And an employee killing his employer, or this young man, he just didn't think it rose to that level. Now, is it a good day? Yes, he's no longer facing life in prison, but he's facing 25 to life. At least I'll say this, if he gets convicted and Judge Caro gives him 25 to life, that means he keeps going up for parole, and I don't think Luigi Marano's parole officer has been born yet.
Well, let me ask you this. Oh, so you're going to say this is going to be tied up in the courts for a long time?
And he'll be if he gets 25 to life. Forget about the federal case. I don't think a parole board will be letting Luigi Marano out anytime in the next.
Mangione.
I'm sorry, Mangione. I apologize.
Oh, this man don't even know the name of the people he's talking about. Struggling over here.
So let me ask you this, because this is a question a lot of people have. There's a federal case which is months and months away to get started. So
do you think
how do you handle when you
this
have a client that's got
is all leading to a very polarizing future for the city?
common. It's not normal.
For the
Just so
country.
everybody knows this is like what happens every day. I believe the track we're on now is they're going to try the case here in state court, and then the feds have the ability to try it in federal court. It has happened in some of the cases you covered. The George Floyd case, right? That there, the police officer was found guilty in state court, and then he pled guilty, I believe, in federal court. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that Luigi would do something like that here, but that's a long way down the line, and you should expect a vigorous defense from his defense attorneys. Joel Seidman, who's the ADA here, is maybe the most veteran prosecutor in the whole office. I think that's an accurate statement. So, and you're in front of a great judge, so it's going to be a real hard-fought battle.
So if you were defending him, what would be the strategy here?
Lisa, that is a hard question. You asked me a lot of questions. That's a hard question. Obviously,
he didn't know how to answer it. This man is not a good attorney.
There's a defect here on behalf of my
Obviously, you gotta just say this man's mental health gotta be in question. Seemed like he has something wrong with his attitude. Maybe he just needed, mama and papa to beat him up a little bit. Get me inside now. Let me teach you about manners and respect, and just beat him. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna get tons of shit for saying that, but what else would you do? Would you let this man embarrass you?
Like the actual forensic evidence, like the bullet, the gun, the things they would typically use in a murder, could be critical in this case.
So I know the defense attorneys well, but I don't ask them what they're doing because I don't want to be put in a position to violate any trust. But I think.
So you find this wacky that people are dressing up like Luigi from the Mario Brothers in honor of Luigi Mangione and this insane shit they're doing, the ideology, the marketing of it all.
Right, unbelievable education. Now he does have those physical elements, right? At a young age, his back was opened up. They put metal in his spine. What effect does that have on the brain? The brain and the spine are connected. So I don't know if that's.
Oh, he's going for insanity plea for Luigi Mangione. Obviously, I mean, there's only one way to go with this.
Plea bargain, just so you know, the judge could go as low as 15 to life, as high as 25 to life, and any number in between if he wanted to get rid of this case. I don't see that happening either. And then there's the federal death penalty case right down the street.
All right, we're going to be following this all very closely. Arthur, thank you for making time to talk
Always
with us
for you,
today.
Lisa.
Bianca, that's the latest here from outside Manhattan.
This is wild stuff. Are they looking to bring the death penalty to New York?
Thanks so much, and Arthur as well. And for the very latest on the Luigi Mangione trial, you can stay up to date on the Fox Local app right on your phone. Next at noon, we're following some breaking news. Hollywood icon Robert Redford has died at 89. We're taking a look back at his story.
And our prayers go out to anyone affected by this story.
Plus, meteorologist Audrey Puente.
R.I.P. Robert Redford.
We'll be right back after this.
Possibly more familiar with the, crowd of today playing in the Winter Soldier movie as one of those corrupt politicians. Robert Redford passing away today. And hopefully you enjoyed some of that news that we were running. Some interesting things happening. Definitely interested to check out what's going on around the world. Hopefully you had a good time over here. I'm looking to get more familiar with running these lives over here as we continue to unalive the clock together. And with that being said, I'm going to get ready to crash out on this live. And hopefully you catch me on the flip side. Until then, for the morning, afternoon, or whenever